Hi guys, so a few thoughts for you for your small groups. I hope you found the message helpful and encouraging on Sunday. Obviously very much trying to help you think about what does it mean to live out your vocation as God's people in this strange land. I want to come at it slightly differently to begin with by referring us to a psalm. It's Psalm 137. Many of us will know this psalm and there have been songs written about it, but it begins like this. By the rivers of Babylon we sat and wept when we remembered Zion. There on the poplars we hung our harps, for there our captors asked us for songs. Our tormentors demanded songs of joy. They said, sing us one of the songs of Zion. I mean, that's a psalm, you can look at it more fully in your small groups, but that's a psalm that reflects on that time where Judea is in captivity in Babylon, and they're looking back to the days of old. They're looking back to before they were in exile. And I guess the question for me is, what is the song of Zion that God's asking you to sing? I shared a couple of examples, I think at least one anyway, on Sunday about how I've tried to create a place for prayer on Facebook Live for those who don't yet know God, a place where they could bring their requests, where they could learn how to pray, where hopefully they could encounter God. Because at this time, people have been looking out for God, reaching out for something beyond just the normal, maybe reflecting a bit more on their lives. So what's the song God's asking you to sing? That was one of the songs I felt God bringing my way. Another song that I ended up, in one sense, singing was I began a blog not long before the first lockdown, and probably accelerated during the first lockdown by writing a little bit more. And it was called Running for Glory. And again, it's the running community I've been part of, and I was trying to write a blog that kind of reflected on running and faith, and how faith can, or how running can help us reflect on faith and life. And that's been, again, creating that space for people to think. As a small group, we more recently have been running through a course by an organisation called Sanctuary, which is a Canadian-based organisation. I think they are now set up in UK, but they run a Sanctuary course for mental health, looking at mental health, trying to equip the church for being ready and able to help people who are struggling with mental health. And of course, we already know the seriousness of that pandemic, within the pandemic, and that it's probably going to go on long after the COVID pandemic. Well, at least we're on top of. That's a song that we as a small group have begun to sing, and I don't know where God will take it. We're just coming to the end of the course and, wondering whether we might take it out to the wider world in some way, or aspects of it. I don't know, we'll see, but trying to find what's the song. So maybe a song for you, it may be a song for your small group. Is there a song for Life Church Manchester, something God's calling you to as a wider community, or in your different locations, that actually is a song from God for this time of exile that's strange and that's just out of the ordinary? So that's one set of questions I think you could reflect on. I think the other set would be really to try and be just really honest about what's God after in you in this time of pandemic. For the people of Judea, we shared how in many ways exile could be seen as a pathway back to God. And I shared a little bit of my own devotional life, didn't have long to share much, but how almost there's a calling of God to be renewed in one's devotional walk, be renewed and re-tenderized, I suppose, in your heart towards God. And yeah, I don't get that right, and I'm not consistent in that, but there's something about reconnecting with God that maybe God is after for the church, but also for the world. So why not just explore together? What's God speaking to you about? Have you just been one who's kind of just heads down, wait for it all to be over and twiddling your thumbs in terms of, I can't face what's going on? And hey, get that. Maybe that is true for some. Maybe you've been struggling with your own mental health. That's, understandable. But is there something God's calling for from you? Does he want to recreate? Does he want to renew you? And if so, what is it? So why don't you spend some time sharing that together and maybe praying for each other out of that? I hope that's helpful. I think it's a wonderful passage, that Jeremiah 29 one, so I'm sure there's many more things you could mine from it than we've been able to in the time that we've had. But hopefully that makes some useful discussion in your small groups. Okay, cheers.